Good evening. Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network. This is RSBN Live. I'm Matthew Alvarez. You're looking live right now at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. As we know, the breaking news of the evening that happened at about 7:45 when President Trump posted on Truth Social that 3 sites in Iran have been struck by the United States. So we know that happened at 7:45. We know that in about 28 minutes from now, the president will make a national address to everyone here in this country. And of course, a lot of people are going to be hearing this address from around the world from that White House. We'll have that address in its entirety, just like all of President Trump's speeches and all of his announcements and various things that we've seen from the president. Of course, we will be able to have that for you here on Right Side. So that'll be happening again at the top of the hour. So right now we're at the bottom of the hour, 9:33. Let's go over a few details that we know at this hour. First, we do know the 24/7 news cycle has just kicked into an extremely high gear. It's something that during these times, this is something where people stay up in all hours of the night to see what may happen next. And that's the big question. You know, we first started out with, what is the president going to do? Will he strike Iran? Now we know the answer to that. And next up is, will Iran retaliate? And many people could be saying right now watching, yes, of course they will, or no, they won't. They're already broken down so much. But we will see coming up, whether it's now, whether it's tomorrow, we'll see what happens. You know, that's the next question. What would, if they retaliate, what will that look like? Anyway, what we're going to do here for the next 27 minutes or so is just monitor what's coming into the newsroom here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. Of course, we're on top of these kind of stories. I actually posted on Truth Social earlier today. I said, as a journalist since 2001, it's hard to unplug over a weekend when there's this kind of thing that could possibly happen. And it did. It happened. At 7:45, around that time tonight, I'm going to look specifically on Truth Social at President Trump's post to see exactly what time that post came down. And of course, I'll read the post. We've already read it together, all of us around this country. So many people jumped on Truth Social at one point that it actually shut down Truth Social for just a minute, but it's back up and running, and it has been for just a few minutes now. What we do see is an hour ago is when President Trump posted this, but I'm going to look at more details. At 7:50 Eastern Time, the President of the United States, the 47th President, the Commander-in-Chief, the leader of the free world, posted the following, as you guys already know and already have read, but I'll read it here aloud as we are awaiting the president to speak to the country and indirectly to the world. This speech, of course, heard by many millions and probably more than 1 billion people would be listening to this, maybe on replay as well from this country and around the world, maybe even more than that. So it's going to be quite the speech tonight. It was the soundbite that was heard around the world just the other day from Carolyn Levitt from the White House podium there at the White House press briefing, when she had a quote from President Trump talking about having that 2 weeks. Within that 2 weeks will be when the president would decide whether or not to strike, right? They use the words to go, whether or not to go. Well, it was only 48 hours ago that happened, and now 48 hours into it, we know that President Trump decided in the Oval Office. Now, this is what's really key to this thing. I was watching this all day, like many of you were. We saw the reports of various military aircraft heading toward this area, whether it was Guam, whether it was to the Middle East. So we saw that. I actually saw that, to be honest with you, at around 3:20 in the morning from disclose.tv. Being transparent with you, I had to get up and go to the bathroom, and guess what? I looked down and I saw, oh crap, there's some military aircraft that are on the way. That was at 3:20 this morning. And then I saw that at 6 o'clock that there would be a national security meeting in the Oval Office. Now, here's a couple things. Remember, words are important. And so the National Security Council meeting has been at the Situation Room 3 times prior during this past week. Well, this 4th meeting was not a National Security Council meeting. This was just a national security meeting. The council word wasn't there. That was interesting. The other thing that wasn't there was the words, the Situation Room. Instead, it said Oval Office. And if you remember, President Trump has said over time and time again when he's been, whether it's live in the Oval Office talking to reporters or signing an executive order or whatever he'd be doing there at the White House, we'd be covering it live. He has said things like some of the most important decisions for our country come from this office. So when I saw that happen overnight, when I saw that there were military aircraft heading towards the east, and then saw the fact that there's a national security meeting at 6 o'clock in the Oval Office, it's hard not to put the two together. And I didn't say anything on Truth Social like, I think this is going to happen tonight. But sometimes with intuition, you sense something deep within yourselves, especially those of you that may work in conservative media or just media in general, or just outside of media. You just kind of feel that something may happen, and it did. And now here we are as we await the President of the United States. Once again, 22 minutes exactly until 10 o'clock Eastern time. Of course, 7 o'clock there on the West Coast. This is something that the country and the world will watch tonight. And again, that question is, will Iran retaliate? And if so, what will that look like? I'm seeing some reports on X already of videos coming out of Iran from state media and others saying that there is going to be some sort of retaliation. But still, at the end of the day, what we're looking at is the facts right now from the President of the United States posting at 7:50 Eastern the following. We have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. The president says, congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. The president now says on this Truth Social post, continuing in all caps, saying, quote, now is the time for peace. He says, thank you for your attention to this matter. So that was at 7:50 on this June 21st, 2025. Let's also go to more President Trump posts. The most recent post that he has now pinned at the top of his Truth Social account is the red, white, and blue, the American flag. That posted 55 minutes ago. Let's go to about an hour ago, specifically 8:13 Eastern time. President Trump said, quote, I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m., as you see there on the bottom of your screen there, at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is a historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. Those are quotes directly from the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States. Now, we are 20 minutes from this speech, and all of these speeches that we cover and all of this coverage that we have, we're thankful to have a sponsor here at Right Side Broadcasting Network to be able to give you this live feed that we're about to show you here. This is not something that comes easy or free. So thank God for sponsors that are on the right side of history. All Family Pharmacy. All you have to do is go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. 20% off. RSBN 20 is the promo code. They have more than 200 essential medications, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, also methylene blue and NAD+, and on. So you can save 20% up until the end of the month. allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Let's go now to Colonial Metals Group. freegoldguide.com/RSBN. If you're looking to put your dollars into protecting your IRA 401k with gold, 100% tax-free. Again, freegoldguide.com/RSBN. You get a free info kit in the mail. Great sponsors here, Colonial Metals Group and All Family Pharmacy. We'll be talking about them in just a bit, as we are now 19 minutes from the speech that we're all listening to, and we're all going to be watching, of course, live tonight on this Saturday, June 21st. Okay, so we went over some of President Trump's Truth Social posts there. We are going to hear from the Commander-in-Chief tonight. We're going to hear from him, and I believe that'll be right at 10 o'clock. Will it be one of those speeches from the Oval Office where the president looks directly at the camera, as I am now, or will it be from a different vantage point? We'll see. That, again, according to the president, a speech tonight in front of the country and in front of the world. So thank you for streaming in with us here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. I know that during these times, can be definitely scary times. We do know the question now went from, will President Trump strike Iran? We know the answer now, to will Iran retaliate? And so we are going to monitor that here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're always going to stay true to the truth, of course, common sense, the Constitution, the Bible, on the right side of history. That's not ever going to stop. Ever, because that's what we, the people, want in this country. We want our freedom. We want the Constitution. We want all these great things in our land. We want the 20 core promises to come to pass. We want all of those things. So we're going to monitor these developments and watch them with you. So thanks again for streaming in. So let's look at a couple other things that we're seeing out there outside of President Trump's Truth Social posts. Again, what we know right now, there were 3 United States military strikes on Iran. We know that. One of them with Fordow, I actually posted on Truth Social about the specifics there, because this is the enrichment site that everybody's been talking about. And I also posted on there one of the names of one of the mountains there, and it's a name that I'm not going to try and pronounce. So if you want to see it on Truth Social, it's at Matthew Alvarez. But the point is, the mountain is about 3,600 feet tall. This is not something that's 8,000, 10,000 feet. You know, maybe a 14er, as they call them in Colorado. This was only about 3,000 to 4,000 feet. So if this happened, and we don't know specifically, was it B-2 bombers? Was it another aircraft? I'm not going to get into all of the jargon right now until we see the facts from the DOD on that. But, you know, this wasn't a massive, massive mountain. So the bunker buster, if that's what they used, then we see there President Trump also posting from a different social media account, from an X account, not President Trump, but he was posting a screenshot of the following from open source intel. So it's at OSINT613, and that post on X said, quote, Fordow is gone. So FORDOW is gone. That's the spot that is south of Tehran. That's the spot that is the one that everyone has been talking about, Tehran. So that President Trump posted that about an hour ago, specifically at 8:04 Eastern time. As it's now 9:44, we're 16 minutes out from this speech that, and again, this is something that I know all of you are watching. We'll be watching it right here with you, right here on a screen that's actually right below the camera. So when I look down, I'm looking at a screen that you're looking at right there at home. Thanks so much for streaming in on this Saturday night. Everybody that follows RSBN on Truth Social, on X, and follows all of us that you know, we're with you. We're with we the people all day, and we're looking forward to seeing what the president has to say at 10 o'clock Eastern. This is, again, will it be from the East Room of the White House? Will it be from the Oval Office? We don't know at this point. We know it's from the White House. So we will have the entire speech right here live on Right Side Broadcasting Network. We won't cut to any commercials, of course, especially when the Commander-in-Chief is talking, especially after such a decision was made that many people were saying that this is going to be for Fordow, that enrichment plant there, or that site in Iran. And it looks like that is one of the sites that the president decided to strike. There's 3 of them that our United States military decided to strike. And the specifics, again, I'll go over them in just a minute, are in President Trump's Truth Social post. And it was interesting because at 7:50 Eastern time, I was at home, to be honest with you, and I was watching just a movie with my wife and our baby. We were just watching, a movie, and the dog's running around, and I'm looking at what's going on out there. I'm monitoring the situation, and I looked down on Truth Social, and God is my witness that I saw President Trump's post 15 seconds after it happened. On Truth Social, you'll see, 15S or 15 seconds or 1 minute ago or 2 minutes ago. I looked down and I saw 15S. So 15 seconds prior to that, President Trump hit that button, and there I was sitting there, as a journalist, as a citizen of this great country, and I looked down and it said specifically, let's go to that quote again. It said specifically, "We have completed our very successful attack." I stopped at that moment. I told my wife that this is what just happened, and I read the entire post, which said, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So I saw that and I knew, well, we're going to be working tonight and this 24/7 news cycle is going to kick into high gear. So here we are 13 minutes out from the president's speech. This is something that I was thinking, well, what's the biggest news story that's happened over the past few years compared to something like this? Yes, President Trump won in a landslide in November. But when he, in Butler, Pennsylvania, survived and overcame that situation, I believe that was the biggest story that we've seen happen outside of President Trump winning and outside of all the wins that are happening from the White House. This story here is just as huge in some ways, of course, because this is something that the question again comes down to. Iran, what will they do now? They know where U.S. bases are in the Middle East. There are a number of them. What will happen to any of our ships in the sea? Are we just already out of Dodge? Is everything good? Is it just a surgical strike and we go and we're cool? Or is there something more going to happen? What about Iran's proxies? These are all questions. Talk about, I remember hearing from a network back in the day, fair and balanced, we report, you decide. Well, I don't care about any of that. What I care about is right now is this. We are taking a stance, at least I am right now, and I know everybody else is here, that we're down the middle with this because at the end of the day, we're reporting the facts of what happened. We said we would do it, and even in the times of great significance like this, we're doing it. And yes, do we have personal opinions? There's always a time for an op-ed. But tonight, we're going to listen to the President of the United States at 9:48, 12 minutes from now. Again, all of these broadcasts, if we didn't have great sponsors, if we didn't have you, the viewers, donating to this network as we grow and expand, we would not be able to bring you anything, including that live shot there where that beautiful Old Glory is outside of the White House right now. So let's go to a couple of those sponsors, and then we will do our 10-minute countdown until we hear from the president. I know all of you that are loyal viewers here at Right Side, and many of you that just started watching right now. We've been live for about 20 minutes or so. Thanks for streaming. We're going to have this live in its entirety. And on top of tonight's broadcast, of course, the replay of this broadcast will be seen by many people. I mean, this is going to be something just like we've had in the past, whether it's election night, inauguration day, whether it's the 250th U.S. Army parade, in the millions of people that will watch this. And this all happened, again, from grassroots, from the start in 2015, when this news organization said, you know what, even though there was a small camera that we were using, even though there was all this stuff that we don't have now, we said, we're going to air President Trump's full speech and we're going to show the crowds because that's part of the dynamic here. And since then, all those times that we've interviewed people outside of the venues, all of you guys that have been at rallies and have been interviewed by Right Side, myself, Robert McNeely, Christina Loren, Megan Kohler, and many others that worked here at Right Side over the years, we remember all of that. We remember every ounce of it because we, the people, that's what this country is all about. Just like Abraham Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish. A government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from this land. So we stand with you, America, and we know that this is a very big time in our country, and we're here to cover it right now live. All right, All Family Pharmacy, one of our great sponsors here at Right Side. All you have to do is go to allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. You get 20% off. Use that RSBN 20 promo code. You'll get that great percentage off. That's up until the end of the month. Now, ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, all sorts of essential medications. This is a spot to go to when maybe a doctor or a pharmacist is like, no, I don't want to give you ivermectin. Forget about that. You can get it right here with these guys, allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN. Also, Colonial Metals Group, freegoldguide.com/RSBN. You'll get a free info kit in the mail, all about protecting your IRA, your 401k with gold, all 100% tax-free. You can use the QR code or you can go to freegoldguide.com/RSBN. All right, so 9 minutes until the president's speech. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks again for streaming in on this weekend, on this Saturday, June 21st. This is something that will be in the history books when President Trump decided that this is the right move to attack Iran in 3 different spots. And now we will see what happens from there. We all want peace. President Trump saying he wants to be a peacemaker. So we're going to see how this all transpires, how this all plays out. We're going to cover it here at Right Side Broadcasting Network. We're glad that you're trusting us for this coverage. Not only that, you know that we stand, again, with we the people. And over the years, all these speeches by President Trump and all these announcements and these executive order signings and these various speeches and deliveries of information from Carolyn Levitt, of course, at the White House press briefing, which just 48 hours ago she said a quote from the president, paraphrasing, but basically saying within 2 weeks that the president would decide whether or not to go. So we knew what that meant to Iran in the sense of a strike. Well, 48 hours comes through, and we see here from disclosed.tv, Iranian nuclear sites. Trump said the U.S. bombed. That from the New York Times. You see 3 of them right there. If you look on, whether it's your Apple Maps, say if you have your phone with you, if you're watching this on a big screen somewhere and you have your phone or your iPad or your Microsoft Surface, your Droid, whatever you're using, if you go to the maps and you just type in Tehran, and then you just go a bit south or type in Fordow, F-O-R-D-O-W. That's the specific site that I was looking at as well, because this wasn't hidden from the public. This was something that we knew that the president had this as one of his sites that he wanted to take out. And then we have the 2 other sites there, Natanz and Isfahan. So those are the 3 sites, disclosed.tv, reporting that from the New York Times. So yeah, we're monitoring all of the developments. As we know, this is literally breaking news, fresh breaking news since 7:50 Eastern. 7:50 Eastern. So literally 2 hours, 3 minutes ago is when President Trump posted the Truth Social post that is being seen by millions and millions of people across this country and around the world. Also, we know that Truth Social had such an influx of people jumping on that site that it was down for just a few minutes, but the great people at Truth Social turned that thing around and it's back up and running. Speaking of Truth Social, I'm going to go there right now live and just double check to see if there's any latest posts from the president. There is not. All right, so we are 6 minutes out from the president addressing the nation. Also, let me go to X real quick and just double check there's any other stories that we can double check on there. We do know that AZ Intel, one of the people that, you know, there's a lot of different places to look for news out there, right? Of course, Right Side Broadcasting Network, sometimes we look at things like disclosed.tv and we report some of these facts of the 3 specific spots that were bombed by the United States, according to the president. So that's fine to go with that. But AZ Intel is one of those that are out there that, you know, we see, and it says statement from Iran's Atomic Energy Organization is expected to be released shortly. New video shows U.S. airstrikes on Isfahan nuclear research facility in Iran. Breaking news, English statement released by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu following the U.S. strikes on Iran nuclear facilities. The quote that I'm seeing here from AZ Intel, Trump and I said that peace will come from strength. First strength, then peace. That, according to Benjamin Netanyahu. So those are some of the things we're seeing there online right now, live at 9:55 Eastern Time. We are about 5 minutes from the president's speech, and we are live to cover it right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Okay, so the other Truth Social post from President Trump, that happened at about 8:03 Eastern. So 13 minutes later, the president says, I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 p.m. at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is an historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. That's the end quote from President Trump. That happened at 8:03. So again, probably about 4.5 minutes now until we hear from the president live. And again, will he speak like other presidents have spoke when there's these kind of situations? There have been 2 places that I've seen that I remember. Of course, the Oval Office, looking directly into the camera, or from the East Room of the White House. And the interesting things about both rooms there, the East Room and the Oval Office. I've been to the East Room before when I was an intern at some other network back in the day. Have not been to the Oval Office yet. But the point is, what we've seen is the world leaders usually would have a press conference with the president in the East Room of the White House after they were in the Oval Office, where they sit down and the fireplace is behind them. But recently what we've seen when world leaders visit President Trump is both leaders will sit there in front of the fireplace. There'll be the reporters around them and the staff from our country and the other country. And then the Q&A goes back and forth right there on the fly after the statements by the president and the world leader that's visiting. What usually happened at the beginning of President Trump's administration was the world leader and the president would go to the East Room of the White House and they would stand there at the podiums and have more of that kind of dialogue. So we've seen a bit of a difference with some of the way the president has been delivering various speeches or having a Q&A. So I bring all that up to say, in 3 minutes, what will happen? Will it be from the Oval Office? Will it be from the East Room? In the meantime, before we go to President Trump, let's go to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu from his speech. Director, do you know how long this speech is by chance? Okay, they're saying it's about 1.5 minutes, so we have that time to do it. Let's go to the Israeli Prime Minister.
Congratulations, President Trump. Your bold decision to target Iran's nuclear facilities with the awesome and righteous might of the United States will change history. In Operation Rising Lion, Israel has done truly amazing things. But in tonight's action against Iran's nuclear facilities, America has been truly unsurpassed. It has done what no other country on earth could do. History will record that President Trump acted to deny the world's most dangerous regime the world's most dangerous weapons. His leadership today has created a pivot of history that can help lead the Middle East and beyond to a future of prosperity and peace. President Trump and I often say, peace through strength. First comes strength, then comes peace. And tonight, President Trump and the United States acted with a lot of strength. President Trump, I thank you. The people of Israel thank you. The forces of civilization thank you. God bless America. God bless Israel. And may God bless our unshakable alliance, our unbreakable faith.
The leader of Israel within the past 2 hours with that speech there from the Middle East. So now we heard from Benjamin Netanyahu. We'll now hear from President Trump in about a minute from now. Guys, do we have any of the a live feed yet from the White House other than this shot here? Okay, so they're saying not yet. So that feed is coming to any network, including ours. So they're monitoring any live feed that pops up. As soon as that happens, they'll go directly to it. I don't care if I'm in mid-sentence and they go to the president, because I'd rather hear from him than me right now, of course, as it's about a minute away from the 10 o'clock hour, the top of the hour, Saturday, June 21st. And I started the broadcast by saying that this is the 24/7 news cycle kicking into high gear. This is going to be one of those things that we'll be monitoring and figuring out what's next. What will happen? Will there be a retaliation from Iran? What will that look like? So I'm not going to get into speculation. I don't have any live military guests on right now, any of that kind of thing. This is not opinion editorial. This is the facts of what happened today, and we're about to hear from the President of the United States. This will be, of course, live to the nation. This will be an address that the President spoke about at 8:03 Eastern, saying specifically, I will be giving an address to the nation at 10 o'clock at the White House regarding our very successful military operation in Iran. This is an historic moment for the United States of America, Israel, and the world. Iran must now agree to end this war. Thank you. So we'll hear from the president here any minute from now. You know, this is going to be, again, not only the English language tonight, many languages across the world will be getting this translation, as people are going to be, this is one of those things where you see in those movies at Times Square, if somebody, a world leader is speaking, everybody stops and looks. I think that's one of those moments right now that we're about to witness here together on Right Side Broadcasting Network. Again, 10:01 Eastern. Then now we know it's the East Room of the White House, not the Oval Office. The president will come out. As soon as we see those doors open way in the back, we will be taking it live right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network. This speech is going to be something played. I thought the soundbite from Carolyn Levitt the other day about the quote that President Trump talked about when it comes to that within 2 weeks will be the decision to go, or not when it comes to Iran. We know that now has happened. Again, the next question is what kind of retaliation will happen from Iran? Will there be a retaliation? I see something happening there. Let's go there live right now to the White House.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
The president's speech, about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes long there, short, succinct, to the point. He said, quote, "Tonight I can report to the world that this was a spectacular military success." He also said, quote, "If peace does not come quickly, we will go after the other targets with speed and skill." The president also, as you just heard, 8 a.m. press conference. You can see that right here on Right Side Broadcasting Network tomorrow at the Pentagon. A lot happened, of course, tonight. 7:50 Eastern was when President Trump posted that this happened. Not an easy time, we know. Thanks so much for streaming in for this live coverage. I'm Matthew Alvarez. For all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, we'll see you tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel. And God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.